ESPN 94.9, The Fan, a Cromwell media station.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It's a beautiful Friday. Probably is in Nashville, but we are in Clarksville, Tennessee, for what is a big night in this city because all of a sudden Clarksville has its own team. Yeah, they're called the Nashville Cats, and they are Arena One football, but they are playing their home games at this beautiful F&M Bank arena that seats, I want to say, around 6,000. I think they built it the perfect size. And some of you who are watching by way of podcast, I'm going to show you a little bit of what it looks like. As you can see up toward the top, they've got suites. This was an arena that the Predators helped build. I'll show you the big scoreboard. What you're hearing in the background will be eventually an entrance to Jeff Jarrett, who is now the managing, I guess, controlling owner of the Nashville Cats. And that's a little bit of what's going on. Let me apologize up front for my camera work, which is not the best. Parker, you may need to step in and help me there. So they're expecting over 3,000 tonight for this opener against a team called the Michigan Arsenal. The Cats have a really good quarterback in Tyler Kulka, and if all works out properly in about 7 minutes, he may join us here at our broadcast site. Those of you who are watching down there, you can see Jeff Jarrett on about the 20-yard line, and this will be sort of the preview of him making a grand entrance later. I'm told he's going to sign autographs from around 6 to 6:30. He's actually going to join us at 3:40 today. We're going to do a variety of things during this show, and I hope you'll stick around. It'll give you a little bit of the flavor of what's going on in Clarksville. We thought it was an important thing to do. But, Parker, it is your job to give me a quick and concise update.
We'll see how concise this is. Let's start in Nashville, where the Predators capped off their season with a 5-4 loss to the Anaheim Ducks. They finished 10th in the Western Conference standings with 86 points, right behind the Blues.
Look, they were really close, and now the question is, okay, who's the general manager going to be? Nobody seems to know that yet. And what does that mean for the future of Andrew Brunette? What does it mean for people like Steven Stamkos? I'll tell you what it should mean. It should mean they want to keep him. He was incredible. 42 goals on the season. And when you look back to where he was in the middle of December, let me take that back, middle of November. From the middle of November on, he was one of the 5 best players in the National Hockey League. So all this, he's old, is a bunch of bull.
The Canucks have fired their general manager. His last name is Alvin, after the Canucks finished with the NHL's worst record. George, if I had to guess, this would not be a top candidate for the Nashville Predators.
No, there's going to be basically a house cleaning in Vancouver. They were the worst team in the NHL this year. And if you go back, a Predator loss in overtime, I want to say about 45 days ago, is one that they can look back on and go, that was an opportunity that we blew.
One of their meltdowns on the year, we can put it that way.
Yeah.
The NHL playoff bracket is officially set after the conclusion of the regular season for everybody last night. George, I took a look at the bracket this morning. One of the series in the first round that really sticks out, the Stars and Wild, because of this. I don't know. How long has this been a new format?
Oh, it's been about 4 years now. And honestly, it feels like the only person that really likes it is Commissioner Gary Bettman.
I don't
Personally, I think they need to do away with it. You're going to eliminate one of the really good teams early, either Minnesota or Dallas, and I don't think they deserve that.
No, and I could see the series going either way, although I'm leaning towards the Stars. But it's just unfortunate that they have to play each other in the next round, and then the winner gets the Avalanche, which could easily be the Western Conference Final if it was set up properly.
Yeah.
So that is the NHL playoff bracket. Some early thoughts, George. We were literally looking at this before we got on the air, but there is a proposal out there from the FBS Oversight Committee. They're recommending a standardized start to the regular season, which in layman's terms means week 0 would be the new week 1. If this were to come into effect, my guess would be 2027.
Okay, so here's what people need to realize. Okay, you can say that all you want, and you can play college football in late August. But you know what? People do not want to sit out in day games in late August when it's 94 degrees. And I think this is an area that they better think about and sort of almost put it into law that, look, for instance, in the South, we're not going to play day games in late August. That's not going to fly. I mean, you're asking people to no-show who don't want to burn up to death. So they better be careful about the strategy that they use because, this is you need to be customer friendly and telling people, you got a great 50-yard line seat, but by the way, when it's over, you'll be dead. That doesn't really fly.
This is one of the many things that is being looked at, in addition to, the 5 years to play 5 years in college football. Of course, not a lot has been made of that so far. They're just continuing to discuss. The next meeting for that will be May 22nd. If this were to come into effect, it would coincide with the executive order that Trump is trying to pass on August 1st. So that's when all of that would kind of meet together.
Whatever.
A lot of legalese.
Yeah.
Speaking of legalese, Owen Heineke, linebacker at Oklahoma, had a breakout year last year for the Sooners, has been granted a 5th year of eligibility, and will return. Oklahoma's going to have one of the top linebacking corps in the country next year.
Okay, and the decision was made in a court?
Yep.
Where?
Cleveland County Courthouse in Oklahoma.
Okay, now think about that. That's one of the things the NCAA is fighting is, okay, where are these lawsuits being heard? Because give me the name of the county.
Cleveland County.
That judge probably can't get out alive if he says, no, you're not going to play. Now, you could say, well, now, wait a minute. A judge in Knoxville did not allow, your quarterback to have an extra year. And my guess is that hadn't gone over real well in Knoxville.
Well, to be honest, the more you learn about this story, if I were a judge and I'm in Tennessee, I would have granted him eligibility as well. So I think it was right that he was granted the extra year, but also to just find your local judge and they'll rule in favor for you.
Yes, your local judge.
So have you heard about this live situation, George?
Yeah.
Basically, we're not going to get too into the weeds here, but Saudi Arabia's main funder for this is considering pulling, which would mean no more live.
Good.
I think we're all in agreement there. Notre Dame and Villanova are set to open the college basketball season, on November 1st in Rome. Both their men's and women's teams from both schools, they'll play a doubleheader, and that's where they're kicking off the college basketball season this year.
They playing at the Vatican?
Not sure. That would be fun, though.
Now, I'm guessing here, without trying to be a total smart aleck, that what happens is some group over there is willing to pay up a pretty penny, because just in travel expenses alone, yeah, it's a great experience, but you ever priced it out? It's not cheap.
No, not by any means. Some baseball action tonight. Tennessee will take on Ole Miss in Knoxville. That is a top 25 Ole Miss team. Vanderbilt will travel to Kentucky tonight for a series there. You can listen to that on 94.9 after our show is done.
Yeah, so couple of other things that have gone on. Well, you got more?
Yes.
Okay.
The Texans and Will Anderson have reached a 3-year, $150 million extension.
Thus, if you need a loan, Will Anderson is your man.
Will Anderson is the guy.
Yeah.
And this is a stat I saw from Jeff Goodman earlier. Most top 100 portal commits this year in college basketball. Indiana and Tennessee are tied at 4. Louisville and Xavier are tied at 3. Tennessee is on a spending spree, as Tony Basilio told us they would be.
Yeah.
And they got that really good commit from, what was the school, George? The prep school here?
Providence
Christian.
Now,
yes.
why do I know that? Because for the last 2 years, they have beaten my BGA Wildcats to win the state title.
Yes.
And they're really good. I'll tell you this. They might have been able to win at any classification that
Absolutely.
the TSSAA wanted to offer up. They were that good. They were loaded.
I just think it's hilarious because when I was in high school playing basketball, Providence Christian wasn't that good.
Well,
now they're really good.
They've gotten good. Believe me.
So the NBA, I was very confused by this because the NHL postseason starts tomorrow. It seems really late compared to other years because the NBA playoffs also officially start tomorrow. They're wrapping up their play-in games tonight. I know you will make some bets on that, so I won't spoil anything. But the Hornets and Magic play in the first play-in game for the 8th seed in the East tonight at 6:30, and the Warriors and Suns at 9 o'clock. Both of those games will be viewed on Prime.
Okay, let's turn your mic off for a second. Get all of this in gear. I want to thank Greg Pogue for setting this up to have Nashville Cats quarterback Tyler Kulka join us. Have you really? Well, that's wonderful. That's really special. So those of you watching this is what goes on at times in live radio and live TV. Let's get that mic pulled down and let's say hello to Nashville Cats quarterback Tyler Kulka, who joins us at our broadcast site. How you doing, bud?
Good. How are you?
Good seeing you. Act like
well.
You've done this before.
I have.
Yeah. So this is a big night in Clarksville. As you know, the community here is very excited. And what they're about to see is a really good quarterback who helped sort of turn this team around a year ago. That had to be a really good feeling for you.
Yeah, it was a great experience last year, and being here in Nashville and playing ball and was awesome. Obviously, can't be riding off the highs of last year though. This is a new year and a new team, and we're ready to go attack it.
So as we look in arena football, it's a 50-yard field before you get to the end zones, and it's not nearly as wide as football outdoors, NFL, high school, whatever. How tight are the windows?
It makes everything a lot tighter. In the outdoor game, they try to stretch the field as much as possible with receivers and things of that nature. But here, you got half the field to work with. So you have to fit that ball in a lot tighter windows and stuff like that, with, jack linebacker moving side to side and, 3 DBs out there trying to make plays and different coverages and stuff like that. It makes everything speed up faster.
So how surprised were you? How surprised was the coaching staff when the minute you walked in, it was virtually instant?
Well, I don't want to say it was virtually instant. I think, I was pretty blessed with a great group of guys around me. And I would say, I was just talking on the radio, there's some good, they protected me really well the first couple games to kind of get my feet wet. And then they were able to kind of open up the playbook for me. So this year, we're coming out and they don't have to protect me. We're opening up the playbook right away and we're ready to go.
So in arena football as a quarterback, you catch it, and then truthfully, how much time have you got? What's the internal clock in arena?
Usually in the outdoor game, I would say it's 3 seconds. You got about 3 seconds to make that decision. I would say in the indoor game, it goes to about 2.
So you got to move quick.
Yeah. Got to get that ball out.
Yeah. So tell me about your brother.
My brother's awesome. What do you want to know about him, George?
Well, I want to hear. I mean, who's the better quarterback? Joshua Kulka, Albany, Apparently had a great first game.
Great first game, MVP of the league. Yes, sir. That's my brother. Love him to death. He grew up kind of following in my footsteps and stuff like that, and so now he's just finished college and came in his first year. And, with Sam going up to the UFL and getting the call to go up, he got the opportunity to start and did a great job. Really proud of him. Really helped him all offseason get better and get, acclimated to the arena game, things of that nature. So it was really good to see him go out and have the game that he did last Saturday.
What kind of things did you try to tell him to help him?
Well, I think the biggest thing is there's some routes in the outdoor game that you don't really get to practice, coming into the arena game that are different, right? You got a high guy in high motion, so your footwork has to be a lot quicker. What you're looking for has to happen so much faster. And so, going into, he was, training for his pro day and doing all that stuff. And, I would come in after his pro day training and we would, show him, hey, you can't throw this on a 5-step drop. You have to take it on a 3-step drop, or little things like that just kind of are different coming into the arena game.
And obviously he's learned either quick or he's learned really well.
Well, I like to take some of that credit, but I'll give him.
Do. I mean, what the heck? He's not hearing this.
That's true. Well, he might. So, and at the end of the day, I really would say he's a talented player. And you ask me who's better, I'm not gonna go in and say that, but I would say,
oh sure, just say it. You're better.
I would say I'm very accurate, but he's got a height advantage. He's got a little bit of a stronger arm, and so I'm really proud of his development and who he is. And it was really exciting for me to watch him pick up that arena game so quickly. And so I'm excited to see how he does this weekend. He plays tomorrow too in Texas. So
are you all at a point where it's league title or bust?
I would say, I think I'm not going to make that. I'm not going to make that league title or bust, but I will say going into the title game last year and losing by 3 points really kind of, mess with my mind a little bit going into the off season, working just a little bit harder every single day in those off season trainings and throwing with receivers and making sure everything is perfect because, it was a long off season. It's my first long off season. When you go in Japan, you play pretty much, the whole year. They got practice and stuff like that. And then coming home, it was like a 3-month break before I got brought into the Cat. So having this long off season to be able to think about it and work really hard, I think, my mindset is, yeah, we're not going to make that same mistake this year. This is our year.
Okay. Before we let you go, for people who have not heard you on this show before, give them a minute about playing in Japan.
Well, some people call it playing for sushi, but, Japan was awesome. What an amazing experience. I told George many times, the food is the greatest part, and then the football is super amazing too. So, I loved being there. Tokyo was amazing, playing ball there. And, the talent level is really good. From a lot of people don't really know, the talent level is really amazing. Some of these D1 quarterbacks come in there and struggle with certain teams and stuff like that, so, they say, the top of that league, can compete in that the D1 level here in America. So, it's really good talent. Japan was so cool. Such a cool experience that, I'll get to tell my kids about someday. It's amazing.
Okay. Michigan native, who wins the Stanley Cup?
Oh man, I after the Red Wings got out, I kind of stopped caring, honestly. No offense, George. I was a big Red Wings guy. I was pulling for him to squeak into the playoffs, and they were right there, and then they got eliminated. And so after that, it's been kind of, well, I'll be watching. But
believe me, I know the feeling. Tyler, thank you so much for coming on with us.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, George. Good to see you.
Tyler Kulka is the Nashville Cats quarterback. He's also pretty darn good, and he will start tonight when they take on the Michigan Arsenal. After the break, Mitch Light from The Athletic will join us. We're broadcasting live from F&M Bank Arena in Clarksville, Tennessee, as you listen to The George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial.
What's going on?
Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
If you're looking for fun for the family, look no further than Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. The bowling is a blast. The people around it make it even better. And you know what? They've got a staff that will make sure you have a good time. So don't wait. Go have some bowling fun at Strike and Spare, the official home of the 4th annual Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank and Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
ESPN Radio lives here. Your sports live here on ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, we are back. Boy, that is not a very pretty picture on the left, is it?
We're making it work.
Let's try.
There was a second I looked like, that story in the Bible, George, where Moses' face is shining like a bright light.
Mm-hmm.
When that thing came on, that was my face just like 10 minutes ago.
Big scoreboard up there. So we are at F&M Bank Arena in Clarksville, Tennessee. We wanted to kind of give people a little bit of the flavor of what is going to go on tonight. This is a big night for this city as the Nashville Cats play their entire 2026 season in this arena, which the Nashville Predators have a major stake in. Now, we're going to do something we'll do every Friday for the next, 6-7 weeks. Mitch Light from The Athletic joins us to talk some college baseball. And I'm not doing this because Mitch is on, but if you're a sports fan, you need to consider subscribing to The Athletic because it is must-read kind of stuff. They do a terrific job, and Mitch, you can just pay me the money later.
I will. Thank you, George. You said consider. I wouldn't consider. I would do it.
Absolutely.
We don't want people to consider subscribing. We want people to subscribe. But seriously, thank you very much, George, and thanks for having me on.
So tell me this, because there's virtually nothing that you all don't cover. And you'll like this here in a minute because it's proof that I know how to make this work. This is my phone, and that is The Athletic, which I subscribe to. I don't think you can be in my business and not subscribe to it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, we cover, like you said, pretty much everything from a national and a local basis. Like you said, every sport, international. We have people in Premier League soccer. We've got people in Spain. We've got people in Australia. We have people in New Zealand. So yeah, we just celebrating our 10th anniversary. I've been here 6 years. We think we've got the best of the best and do a really good job covering the landscape. In a time when, quite frankly, there's not a lot of national publications that devote the resources to covering as much. So thanks. But I agree with you. I think we do a good job.
Oh, I think you do as well. And I don't think you can be in my business and not be paying attention to it on a daily basis. So I want to start with something that to me is the beauty of sports. Here's Tennessee's baseball team that virtually every button they had been pushing boomeranged in their face. They come to Vandy a couple of weeks ago. The truth of it is they could have won all 3 games and found ways to lose all 3 of them. It feels like the beginning of a recipe for disaster for Josh Elander taking over from Tony Vitello. And then lo and behold, of all things, where you think they're going to get buried, they go to Mississippi State and sweep. I never saw that coming, Mitch.
No one did. And, Mississippi State 2 weeks ago was 7-2. I thought maybe they were the best team in the conference, them or Georgia or Texas. They've gotten swept 2 weeks in a row at home. So they go from 7-2 to 7-8. And we spoke last week, and I didn't blame it, say it was all bad luck for Tennessee. But if you recall, I used that word luck. When you're evaluating a team, when you lose 3 games like they lost in Nashville and 2 games like they lost at home to LSU, some things don't go your way or didn't go your way. And it's up to the pitchers to make those pitches. I get all that. It's about performing. But sometimes the ball bounces your way, and the pitchers that weren't getting key outs in Nashville and in Knoxville against LSU got those outs. It was really the bullpen that did a great job last week. And at Mississippi State, 5 Tennessee relievers combined to allow only 2 earned runs in 8 innings. Think about that.
Wow.
3 games. They gave up 2 earned runs in 10 innings. The previous 2 weeks, they couldn't get anybody out except for freshman Cam Appenzeller, who's been fantastic. So basically, it just boiled down to the relievers getting the job done. Now they hit the ball pretty well, but they hit the ball pretty well in those previous 2 weeks. So yeah, college baseball really affords you the opportunity to turn things around quickly because you play a 30-game season, which is long, 30-game conference season, but you do the math. If you can string together a sweep 5 out of 6, again, going from 4-8 with a trip to Mississippi State looming to being 7-8 after that trip, their RPI went up like 20 spots. You threw out there. We thought they'd make the tournament, but maybe a 3 seed. Now they're in firmly in that 2 seed. But just as things turned around so quickly, George, they play Ole Miss at home. They could easily lose 2 or 3, and then we're on here next week talking about what went wrong. So it's like you said, the beauty of sports, but specifically college baseball.
Yeah. So, okay, put on your crystal ball here. What do you think they do with this? Was this just a moment in the sun and they go back to this inconsistent stuff, or does this, in your opinion, start a surge?
Well, the one thing they've got going for them is good starting pitching. Landon Mack, Tegan Kuhns, and Evan Blanco. I don't know if they're the best in the league, but they're pretty good. I don't know if I trust their offense to be consistent enough to go on a 10-5 run to end the season. So I think they are what they are. They weren't as bad as they were the last 2 weeks. They're probably not as good at Mississippi State. They got one player batting over 300. Henry Ford's the only player with double-digit home runs, which isn't we're not typical. We're not typical. I can't speak English today. We don't typically see from Tennessee. And the bullpen, while it was great last week, let's see it do it 2 weeks in a row because Ole Miss can really swing the bats. So I'm not going to sit here and say they're cured. That was a good week for them. I think the Ole Miss series is really fascinating. Tennessee strikes out their staff. I think they're like third or fourth in the league in strikeouts. Ole Miss strikes out a lot. They hit a lot of long balls, but they have like 2. I think I was just playing around with stats the other day. They have 3 of the top 4 guys in the league in strikeout percentage at the plate. So Tennessee pitchers, if they do what they do and they strike out the Ole Miss batters, keep them off the bases, I think Tennessee has a really good chance to win 2 out of 3. But Ole Miss also has a good starting staff. So these 2 staffs are probably 2 of the 3 or 4 best in the league. So it's going to be some pretty good pitching in Knoxville this weekend.
Okay, you'll like this. Before I ask you about Vandy, Jeffrey asks here, can you ask Mitch about the Gators baseball team? His thoughts. Seems like we beat all the ranked teams, then lose to the teams we should beat.
Not much to say other than he's right. I mean, they sweep Arkansas on the road. They take 2 of 3 from Georgia. They lose to Bethune-Cookman on by the way, shout out to Bethune-Cookman. Beat LSU and Florida on back-to-back Tuesdays. So Wildcats,
There we
good job.
go.
So midweek games are what they are. You're not getting your best, but you're not getting the best from Bethune-Cookman either. Like Bethune-Cookman's probably saving their pitchers, they're better pitchers for league play as well. So Florida has good frontline pitching. Aiden King pitched last night against Auburn and was fantastic. They made that moved him to Friday. So they are very quietly one game out of first place now on Georgia, because Georgia lost to Arkansas last night, and they have that series win though. So the series win. So Florida has been kind of schizophrenic. They lost 2 out of 3 Ole Miss. They've been swept. They've swept a couple times. So, but not a vintage swing hitting Florida team like a couple years ago when they lost to LSU in the College World Series finals, but they can pitch. And right now they're one game out. So they are obviously playing really well.
So I'm going to lay out a little of where I'm going with this question. So you and I know that Vandy has really struggled to find that third pitcher in SEC play. They've asked everybody but you and me to be that third pitcher. They have a pitcher on that staff who is a 2025 Plaster intern, Alex Kranzler, who obviously I'm rooting for. Alex has really struggled, but on Tuesday night against Lipscomb, struck out 5 of the 6 batters that he faced in relief. Do they start him in the third game at Kentucky?
I don't know what's better on Kranzler's resume, a Plaster intern or a New Jersey native.
Hey, hold on. Do you know the story on him?
I just know he's from New Jersey.
Okay, so his mother worked for the NBA at one point. He has a memorabilia collection that is better than any you have ever seen. I mean, it's worth a bunch. He's got something like 46 of the last 50 NBA scoring leaders signing a jersey or something. It's unbelievable what he's done.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
To answer your question, I was following the game the other day, and because you're right, he struggled, and I think he gave up a double and you gave up a run. I was like, oh, come on, Al, you get it together. You're a junior,
right.
and then he went on his 5. You struck out, so I don't think so. He's had a couple opportunities. I think he's just going to be used as a spot reliever. I think the guy who they would like to would be Aiden Stillman, the freshman who actually started in his first collegiate appearance because he was coming off injury at Texas A&M. He's got to get ramped up. Now, he gave up the grand slam against Oklahoma over the weekend, but he pitched well on Tuesday. He was their top recruit. He was a top 50 national recruit. He's got a big arm. He will probably be a starter next year. I think they're just going to try and mix and match. We say that third starter, although they penciled in on Saturday, the second game again this week. So, yeah, it's pretty rare that you're this late in the season, especially for Vanderbilt, a program that's obviously pitched so well over the years, where they can't figure out who their third starter is. They've thrown some freshmen out there, but Alex has been, he's shown he can do it in the past as a reliever. I just don't think he's going to be the answer as a starter.
So his, let's see, how would I say it? His intern director told him a week ago, you can't control what's already happened, but from this moment on, you can. How about that?
Words. Can I take those words to live by too?
Absolutely.
I'll take it while we're at it.
They're not.
Yeah, you're still young.
Yeah, they're not worth much.
Yeah. Put it on a T-shirt and sell it, George.
Yeah, absolutely. Go.
So obviously, Mitch, the sweeping of Mississippi State was huge for Tennessee. I'm curious about, because obviously you had that 2022 team that might have been the greatest team ever assembled. In 24, they actually hit more home runs, which was kind of a little bit surprising. But the last 2 years, you've just seen those home run numbers go way down. And I know in college baseball, after you win a national championship, typically it's really hard to maintain that national championship level. I mean, we saw Mississippi State after they won one, they fell off. After Ole Miss won one, they fell off as well. But what do you attribute those numbers to? Why those numbers are going down?
It's a good question. I mean, the obvious answer is like personnel. They had a generational run of recruiting hits. Christian Moore was a good recruit, but who would have thought it's whatever, second base, Blake Burke. They had a lot of guys who hit a lot of bombs. And I mean, it's pretty simple. Maybe a little bit of underperformance. I mentioned Levi Clark was a big recruit who they expect a lot from this year. He's kind of underperformed. Henry Ford's been a good power hitter this year. He's got 10 home runs, but just they're not, they're not hitting for as much power. I know that's like this simple answer. I just think it's more of a personnel issue that, Tony Vitello's gone, but Josh Elander is the hitting coach. So it's not like there's no philosophy. They didn't change their ballpark. There's no new wind pattern in Knoxville that I'm aware of. One thing I'm thinking out loud here, but they did do some stadium construction. I don't think that affected it. Like, in fact, over at Vanderbilt with the
outfield.
Yeah, I know, not in the outfield. But it's interesting because at Vanderbilt, the football stadium was gone for the thing that hung over was gone for a couple of years. Now part of it's back. And I've talked to people over there. They're trying to figure out if that's going to affect any wind pattern or anything like that. Little things like that can impact it, but not in Knoxville. So yeah, it's just programs have certain DNA, things they're known by. Tennessee was known for hitting the long ball for a few years stretch. And it's absent this year. I'm not saying that they clearly could return to that. I just don't think, I think it's just a personnel issue this year.
Yeah, and I mean, they did a lot of good work in the portal, and the recruiting has still been really solid. I didn't really expect that to change much because Elander handled a lot of those recruiting duties, even under Vitello. But the thing that Elander does that I'm still trying to figure out is he likes to tinker with the lineup a lot. Do you think that that's contributed to this as well?
I think you tinker with the lineup when you're not performing what up to what you expect. So I think that's more it. I'm sure he's been sitting in the second chair, whatever you want to call it in baseball, and had his thoughts. What would I do different? And some coaches want to be more consistent with their lineup. You don't want to. Baseball's such a confidence sport. You give a guy a spot start, and if he goes 0 for 3 and you don't play him again, like what kind of confidence is that showing him? Or do you keep a guy in there? So I don't know. These are sort of like unanswerable questions when you're looking for when you're trying to theorize why a team's underachieving offensively. I just think he's probably searching for the right formula, kind of like we talk about with Vanderbilt searching for that pitching formula. We're not used to Tennessee having to search for that offensive formula. In recent years, it's been like they had too many guys to play. Like they had guys on their bench that you expected, if they were at X school, those guys would be playing. That's not the case this year. They're searching for answers.
An embarrassment of riches is like I like to refer to that as.
They had it for a few years.
Right. So I apologize. It's loud in here. We got motorcycles going. I'm going to ask you one more thing. And the West Coast in college baseball has been really good, whether you're looking at, UCLA, Oregon State, USC's having a good year, Oregon's having a good year, Arizona State's having a pretty good year as well. Does this make college baseball more entertaining to the average fan?
I think so. I think it's good for the sport. And it's kind of not what you expected almost. With the Big Ten, with the implosion of the Pac-12, and USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten, you're like, how are those schools going to recruit? Is that the downfall of those proud programs? But they are thriving. UCLA's best team in the country, maybe Georgia Tech, but UCLA's having a great year. USC's having its best year in 5 or 6 years. And Arizona made the College World Series last year. They're kind of struggling. Arizona's been ranked at times this year. Oregon's good. Oregon State's good. So I think any college sport is better when it's national. Baseball is never going to be truly national. We talked a lot about it last week, Big Ten, cold weather teams. But the sport is a lot better when those teams are good. Now, George will remember, going back 10, 15, 20 years when I was younger, Long Beach State, you had Fullerton, Cal, Irvine, even 10 years ago, Irvine and Fullerton, Vanderbilt played those teams in the College World Series. Those programs have fallen off. That's sort of the different argument, the different problem, the mid-majors losing all their good players. But my long-winded answer is saying definitely I think college baseball is better when UCLA is good, USC is good, Arizona and Arizona State are good.
Mitch, I need a 30-second answer. Stormy asks, what was the reason McIlvain left Vandy for Arkansas?
I don't know if he wanted to start or because he's not starting in Arkansas. He's coming out of the bullpen. They brought him along slowly. It looks like he's their closer now. Maybe just a change of scenery. He had bright spots last year, but he ended the year where he didn't pitch in the regional and he got hit pretty hard at Kentucky. I don't know any inside information there, George. My guess is just a change of scenery. He just wasn't working out for whatever reason.
Hey, you were good to do this. A lot of noise in the background. This is going to be fun tonight. Thank you for taking the time to come on with us.
No problem. Talk to you guys next week.
Mitch Light from The Athletic, and I'll say it again, boy, if you are a sports fan, The Athletic is a must-read subscription for you. After the break here in Clarksville, the great Jeff Jarrett will join us at our broadcast site. This is a big night for him, a big night for Clarksville, and a big day for the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Nashville hockey. Around here, it can sound like a language of its own. But hey, if you can pronounce the Mumbry, then names like Yossi, Shea, Marchessault will roll right off the tongue. Nashville Predators, only in Smashville.
Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a race and sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall. Nashville, get ready to make history. On April the 19th at Geodis Park, the Guinness Music City Rugby Showdown brings the first ever Major League Rugby match to Tennessee. It's a powerhouse showdown. The Chicago Hounds take on the three-time champions, the New England Free Jacks, in a clash you don't want to miss. Feel the intensity, hear the hits, experience the speed, the rivalry, and the electric atmosphere of pro rugby live in Music City. One match, history in the making. Be there April the 19th at Geodis Park and get your tickets now at chicagohounds.com. You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Those of you who are joining us by way of podcast, you can see some different looks at F&M Bank Arena, which will play host tonight to the Nashville Cats and the Michigan Arsenal. And joining us again from our broadcast site, and I'm going to get him a little bit closer to the table where you can see him a little better. That is Jeff Jarrett, and this is yet another thrill to be able to say hello to him. How you doing?
Hello, sir. Face for radio, right? Fan?
I've said it. Hey,
you need to turn this camera on.
I've used that line for a long time.
Yes.
So what does it feel like? I mean, best as I know, this is the first night you've been the owner of a sports franchise. What kind of nerves are going through you?
Well, opening day, and now I'm involved in some minor league baseball up in Illinois as far as pro sports. But this is something that is so special because this is in my backyard. I've shared this a couple of times already today that My grandmother in 1946 got into professional wrestling. This is one of her regular stops that she promoted. My dad wrestled and promoted in this town. And when I was in high school, I hung out window cards back when there was like 2, maybe 3 high schools up here. So I have been in the Clarksville community a long time, which is pretty cool to me. And my girls played soccer and high school basketball up here. So know the community well. But for the Cats, and look, I'm a Titans fan at heart. And so Jeff Fisher, when he called, I just said, man, when I really drilled it down, like I said the other day on your show, it just made a lot of sense that I think he'll definitely handle everything on the field. And he's got a hell of a coach in Coach Arbette. I think our team, from what I understand, is really ready to rock. And I'll say I'll take care of the production and marketing and off-field stuff. You've been right in the middle of this sound check with the
with the
Harleys. A little loud in here for you, pal.
That's okay. So you're not one of these owners that sits up in an ivory tower and sort of waves to NBC, when they show you. From the minute I've been here today, you've been all over this place.
Yes, I am. It's game time for me. That started at about 9 a.m. when I got a call from the general manager, Patrick, from here at F&M Bank Arena. And I answered the phone this way, George. I said, when I'm getting a call from the GM of the venue before 9 a.m. on game day, this might not go good. Anyway, just a few productions. Anyway, it's our for opening day. So many moving parts. Like we have 4 flag football teams coming in here. They're going to be playing at halftime. We've got a pretty cool intro and open. I'm doing the autograph session. I'm the first Cats captain, as we're going to call it, doing an autograph session, meeting and greeting the fans. I mean, you talked offline earlier about that. So we're dialed into this community. And as you can kind of see, the banners around Byers and Harvey, Buffalo Wild Wings, Jody's Cabinets, Toyota of Cool Springs, Goggins Warehousing, Bass Tire, and the list goes on and on. So Cats football is here. We're very excited. AF1, George, the news just came out early this week, just shattered all kind of digital and social media records based off year-over-year increases from last year. So we're very excited how the season has kicked off.
So Clarksville wanted this.
Oh,
and I know you've pre-sold around 2,800 tonight.
Yep.
Looking for a good walk-up. That's got to make you feel good.
I would love nothing more in so many ways. Here come the motorcycles. Hadn't they rehearsed enough? But anyway, yeah, I'd love to get up over 3 tonight. I'd love to, next week, George, I'm going to go ahead and get ahead of myself because I'm a promoter. You know how that goes. We've got the Vice Game of the Week next Saturday. I would love to sell this building out. I think we'll come close tonight. You never know. Beautiful weather outside. Walk-up's going to be good. There's an incredible buzz in this town. I stopped and got some coffee earlier, and people were right away, hey, we'll be there tonight. Charlie Coon, I call it an unofficial mayor of Clarksville. I did his podcast earlier this week, Conversations in Clarksville. There's just a lot of energy in the town, and everyone here is super excited. I just left a meeting with Coach Fisher. Or Commissioner Fisher, but just left a meeting with him, and he's, I love to see it. He's, I still have it. He's got that coach's mentality, and he's kind of laid back, but he's dialed in. But when you see a smile on his face, I don't take it for granted. So very excited to see Coach smiling, and we're fired up.
Are you a brand expert?
No, I am any. Constant learner, but I will say this,
Hold on a second. We'll just let him hear this for a second. What in the world are they doing, by the way?
I have no idea, but I've had about enough of that. I'm going to pull the plug on these guys. But no, I've been in the business 40 years. And I'll say this, George, years ago when I broke in, it was a Saturday morning wrestling television show. So, but things have grown, the digital age, the social media age. So you got to be a continual learner. So I'm dialed in, and it's this simple. People buy from people that they know, like, and trust. They know they absolutely know the Cats. They like the Cats, and they're going to trust us because I promise you, when people leave here tonight, they're going to know that they saw an absolutely wall to wall, bell to bell, from the time the game starts to finishes. It's going to be an incredibly entertaining evening.
But Jeff, isn't some of that the brand you've created? Not only the Cats, but your brand, where people are like, okay, it isn't going to be dull if he's involved.
Well, I tell you what, and Coach Arbette and my conversations with him, and he's really taught me a lot. I've tried to sit under, obviously, Coach Fisher and Coach Arbette's learning tree about the game and everything that goes with it. And when you know, in here, George, we're old old sports guys, but when you see the nets,
we're old. that part for sure.
No, maybe you are, not me. But when you see the nets and the way this game looks, and you're going to be playing tackle football on this field, it's going to be incredible. So the entertainment aspect from first, second, third, fourth quarter is going to take care of itself. But when people come through the door in this F&M Bank Arena, we're going to make them feel at home. We're going to make them feel like that they came to a party and a football game breaks out. So if we can create that vibe, which I think we can, we've got high-end energy videos and music and everything that goes with, a night of entertainment.
Jeff Jarrett joining us at our broadcast site. He's now the man running the Nashville Cats. Let's have a little fun with something.
Oh, boy.
So you came on our show earlier this week, and Kelly Holcomb simply goofed all over you.
Come on now, George.
It was absolutely embarrassing.
Easy on Kelly
He was
now.
so fired up to have the chance to talk to you. I mean, it really surprised me, because here's a guy that he's been around all these different NFL players. He knows them all. He was Peyton's teammate, and he was genuinely pumped to meet you.
Always kind of said this. There's something unique about professional wrestling that, sports are seasonal, and, especially that you can get traded back and forth. Wrestling, I've been on TV. I've been in people's living room homes literally for 40 years. And them folks down in Fayette County, Fayetteville, where he's from, they are wrestling fans through and through. But no, I appreciate you saying that. But I had a heck of a time. And look, I could talk sports to you guys. If you know me, you know that I'm a sports junkie. And if people say, hey, Jeff, you want to come on a radio show? My first question is it sports talk? My PR guys will tell you that. And they'll go, oh, yeah, Jeff will do any sports talk show. Getting into other formats, it can be a challenge. But no, I love talking sports, but I appreciate you having me on the other day.
Okay, you ready for this one? Now, I love this question. This comes from a listener.
Okay.
So I was once in Memphis as Memphis State, back when it was Memphis State, their play-by-play announcer replacing Jack Eaton.
You were.
I was the one that replaced Jack Eaton.
God bless you.
Okay.
Following Elvis.
Yeah. Down there, it felt like it. So
Larry Finch.
So listen to this one. Ask Jeff Jarrett about the first Saturday morning debut on Channel 5 in Memphis. How long did the recovery take? Yes, I was watching, he says.
That gets talked. Matter of fact, it's a little over 40 years. April 6th of 86 is when I got
good
started.
Lord.
So that happened in March of 86. So I'll say this, Charlie Anderson, I can't say he was my coach at Aquinas. And so George.
And a great man.
Great man. Love Charlie. Or Coach Anderson. But I'll tell you one thing, he didn't know I was doing it. So as an Aquinas basketball teammate, I don't think Charlie was real happy with it, but he didn't know. So I took the strategy. I'm not going to ask permission, just ask for forgiveness.
Ask for forgiveness.
And it worked.
Charlie Anderson, by the way, to me, was one of the most unheralded, underpublicized superstars. Him and Coach Ed Temple in early Nashville sports history.
Big time. And look, my high school coach, Coach Ronnie Sarver, the other night, Tuesday night, we went out to Lipscomb. Jeff Orhan was my high school teammate, head coach of Lipscomb.
Pretty darn good coach.
You ain't kidding, buddy. And Coach Sarver was there, and we were, he was ALS night. Mike Marinick, our teammate, honoring him that night, his family and everything. But, we got to talking about the coaches in the Nashville area. And boy, oh boy, I think a lot of folks, times have changed. You can't coach the same way. parents, kids. It's a different culture, different society. But tell you what, Charlie, Coach Sarver, I've been blessed with great coaches. And I've said this many, many times on many interviews. My dad was a mentor, but when you drill it right down to the coaches that I grew up with, I can remember, because those were the guys that were allowed to push me, not to my limit, but way past my limit. But that's how you really grow and learn.
Thank you for coming over
Appreciate
here.
you, George. Now,
Man,
look,
it has been an honor.
buddy, you better be ready tonight, play by play.
Trust me, I'm ready.
Are you going to root for the home team?
If you're involved, yes. How about that?
Thanks, George. I appreciate you having me on. Go Cap.
Hang for just a second. Okay, I've got 25 seconds before we go to the break to say, when we come back, we're going to learn a little bit more about how special a night this is in Clarksville, Tennessee. Some of you can see a little bit of what F&M Bank Arena looks like. The rest of you, hang with us for the 4 o'clock hour. This is the George Plaster Show.
Smashville lives here. Here's a shot, he scores! Still behind the net, a one-timer! Preds score! Your home for Preds hockey is 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
At DePaul University, your dreams don't wait for opportunity. We meet 100% of each student's demonstrated financial need. Nothing should stand between you and your potential. Visit depauw.edu.
It's Family Leisure Spring Sale. Pools, spas, and patio furniture are all on sale.
Because it is officially spring.
24-foot pools are only $29.99 installed.
I really want a spa.
40 different spas on display at each location. Now featuring the ultra-premium Sundance Spas.
Now we're talking.
Family Leisure has patio furniture on sale. Hundreds of sets to choose from with free delivery.
All the pool chemicals and accessories are on sale as well.
It's Family Leisure Spring Sale going on now at both huge locations, Antioch and Franklin.
All right, ladies, fellas, let's get real for a second. Size matters. Once you go daddies, there's no going back. You want it big, beautiful, and all natural. Daddy's dogs aren't just any hot dogs, baby. We're talking about the biggest, tastiest hot dogs you've ever eaten. And this month only, try the Granddaddy Dog Double. The dog. When you're ready to bring the party to your mouth, visit the game, Nashville.com/deals for a half-price gift card. Daddy's Dogs. Golly, that's a tasty dog.
Ponce Law is the only personal injury law firm with the Crash Cam Network. Powered by Roadproof, capturing accident footage on highways across Middle Tennessee. Injured in an accident? Call Ponce Law. We offer a no-fee guarantee, and for over 30 years, we've been helping injured people just like you. We've been voted best law firm multiple times. I'm Michael Ponce, and we want to hear your story. Call us today at 615-244-4321. Ponce Law, justice for all.
Hey guys, it's Mike from Newton Nissan of Gallatin. Parents, we know you're running a non-stop taxi service. We also know how hard your high school student works for those good grades. We want to reward them. It's time for our annual student car giveaway. Here's the deal. For every A on your student's report card, they get one entry to win a brand new Nissan Versa. Good grades can mean a free car. Just go to newtonnissan.com/car giveaway. Students must upload their current report card from the school year. The deadline is June 8th. Don't miss out on this incredible chance at newtonnissan.com/car giveaway.
Spring is here, and as the weather heats up, the sports action heats up at Circus Sports Kentucky. From baseball to basketball, hockey to golf, Circus Sports has it all. Circus Sports isn't just sports betting. It's sports betting the way it should be. High limits, player-friendly pricing, and enhanced in-game options. Whether you're looking for playoff futures or props on your favorite players and more, Circus Sports has you covered. And don't forget to visit Kentucky's largest sports book, Circus Sportsbook, located at the Mint Kentucky Downs. Download the Circus Sports Kentucky app or visit circusports.com today. Must be 18 or older and located in Kentucky. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Now, here's your latest Fox 17 Code Red weather report.
Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bobus. Our forecast brings us into the upper 80s later on this afternoon. Plenty of sunshine today, a little humidity as well. Overnight tonight, a very easy way to make our way into the weekend, down to only 70 degrees.
Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Looking for bold flavor and big-time vibes in Music City? Head to Social Cantina Nashville, right in the heart of historic Germantown. From crave-worthy tacos and fresh Mexican fare to legendary margaritas, it's the perfect stop before the show, after the game, or anytime you're feeling festive.
With daily specials, weekday happy hour, and a lively atmosphere, every visit brings the party. Social Cantina Nashville. Loud, social, flavorful, and unforgettable.
Nashville, it's back. Cromwell Media, alongside Fox 17, brings you the 5th annual 615 Open, presented by Gary Force Acura and Atmos Energy. May 28th at Hermitage. Golf with purpose, supporting Folds of Honor. Register now at 615open.com.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Nashville Cats, the only place in town. Nashville Cats, it's not like you're in Brooklyn. Nashville.
Is this a Nashville Cats theme song?
Well, there used to be the song Nashville Cats. And I don't think that's the version of it. But before the Nashville Cats ever came here, there was a song, Nashville Cats. And they sort of played off that when they were at Bridgestone back in the 90s.
Ah, all right.
Yeah, you stick with me, you'll learn some stuff.
In arena football, George, how many players are on each team at the field?
I
on
sure
the field
hope
at one time?
I sure hope the answer is 8. Because if it's not, then I've got to go back through the
You got to do
spotters
some more
board
prep.
and check some things out. Let's go with 8 and see if that works.
If the answer is not 8, George, you are in a world of trouble. Good thing the answer is 8. 8 players on the field at one time for each team.
Yeah. So give people that are watching by way of podcast a look. This is let's show them where we're going with this. This is an arena.
Take myself off so they can get a.
Yeah, this is an arena that the Nashville Predators have been involved in helping build, and I know this is the source of a lot of pride for Sean Henry, for the city of Clarksville, and we welcome all of you officially into the 4 o'clock hour. I asked a friend of mine, Justin Swallows, to join us at our broadcast site by way of phone. Justin has been heavily involved behind the scenes in pushing to see what is a very special night in this city to have happen. Justin, how you doing?
I'm doing great, George. It's Cats football season, man. We are fired up.
Yeah, so Jeff Jarrett told me earlier, you've got 2,800 pre-sold. They feel pretty comfortable that they're going to get over 3 tonight with any kind of a walk-up. You've been involved in this from kind of the ground floor. Talk to me about what this means and what all Clarksville has tried to do to put a best foot forward here.
Well, I think you just said it. 3,000 tickets. For the very first game. That's awesome. First game of the Cats calling Clarksville home permanently. We're excited about it. We've seen the business community, and I don't know how much you got to explore downtown Clarksville, George, but it's all of our downtown business owners. Most of them are season ticket holders. They all have Cats posters, scheduled posters up in their storefronts and in their restaurants, and it's something for us to call our own, and it's a super exciting thing, and I can't believe it. It really feels surreal, to tell you the truth. When Jim Durrett, our former county mayor, decided that we as Montgomery County were going to build that arena downtown, it took a lot of conversation. It took a lot of explaining and, frankly, a lot of selling to this community just to see that vision and to see things like this. It's a smaller scale. It's not Major League Baseball or the NBA, but we have professional sports in Clarksville, and it's something that a lot of us didn't think we would see. So it's exciting.
So, Justin, take me through the actual building of this facility. Those people who are watching right now by way of our podcast are seeing what I think is one of the best things about the arena, the suite level, the end zone where it says F&M Bank, welcome, Clarksville, Tennessee, all that kind of stuff. But talk to me about the Predators piece of this and just simply the whole ball of wax.
I don't think that Sean Henry knew what he was getting into, to tell you the truth. Jim Durrett is a man with great vision. He's become a really good friend of mine recently. But our former county mayor, I used to do a little local Saturday morning sports talk show. And so Jim comes on the show to explain this concept to me. And I was just absolutely blown away when he starts talking about having a year-round arena in downtown Clarksville where Austin Peay plays all of their home basketball games, but also getting the Predators involved. And that was a huge part of the selling that Jim had to do in pitching that idea is, look, we're going to bring Sabretooth Sports and Entertainment in to run this venue, and they're going to book all kinds of great shows and concerts and events for this facility. One thing with the relatively new general manager they have on site there is they have really done a good job in working with Visit Clarksville to make that space more of a community hub. In the last 6 weeks, George, we've seen the Division II state basketball championships. We have seen a middle school robotics competition. We've seen cheer and gymnastics competitions. It has become a lot more than just a sports arena, and they've figured out a way to really make it a draw. And I love it, again, for our downtown business community. I just live right down the street. So when this was happening, when the arena was coming together, I told my wife, I said, we have to be part of this. This is going to change downtown Clarksville. And it really has. That change is still occurring. But just to see the way that it's changed in a relatively short amount of time is really cool. And it's been fun to be a part of. And I'm thankful, honestly, as somebody who lives down there, I'm thankful for local leaders who have the vision to do big things, and excited that SS&E was able to get on board and do what they've done. They have been a fantastic manager and facilitator of our facility. I always tell everybody that's mine, mine and everybody else who pays taxes in Montgomery County. We own that facility, and I think it's something we should all be very proud of.
The answer you just gave me, Justin, sounds like virtually a carbon copy of what I went on the air 32 years ago with. I remember Peter Heidenreich was nice enough to give me a tour of Bridgestone Arena before it was finished. And we're up there in the upper deck, and I've got one of these hard hats on, and I'm sitting there looking at this going, Dad gum, this is going to be a game changer in our city. And so I get exactly what you're saying.
Well, I think just the speed of which things have come together. Some of the events, we had ZZ Top there a couple of weeks ago. Some of the events I went and saw a couple years ago or just last year. There've been Styx was there. We went to a Styx rock concert. We've had some really good bands. SS&E's done a good job there. But to be able to have professional sports, to be able to have the Nashville Cats, all the history of that franchise and what they've been through, and the different owners, the high-profile owners that they've had and the high-profile owners that they currently have, to think that they would look at downtown Clarksville and say, this is where we want to be. It's really flattering, to tell you the truth. And I think my biggest thing throughout this, they made the announcement, you and I talked back in the fall, when they made the announcement that they're coming, we as a city have got to show up and make them look at each other tonight and say, this was a great decision. I think we're going to do that. Those numbers you just gave me are super exciting, and I don't think tonight will be the biggest crowd we see this season, to tell you the truth. But I think it's still building momentum, but I'm excited about where it's going.
What do you think is the next move? Let's say, in theory, that this goes really well, and all of a sudden you've got Clarksville on a sports map because you've got a beautiful facility, and now you got a team, and oh, by the way, you're supporting it. What's next in the vision?
I think, and I don't know, I don't have any concrete information, but I think you look at the Division II high school basketball championships and how successful they were. there last month. I think eventually we get all of that. I think you could look at everybody in our state coming to Clarksville for high school basketball championships. I think that would be super exciting. We keep hearing rumblings about minor league hockey, and there are a lot of different forms of that, and trying to figure out what might work there. I think that makes a ton of sense for that venue and for our market. And I just get excited every time I talk to Patrick, the GM there with SS&E. He tells me there's a big announcement coming. There's a big announcement coming. I don't know how many times he's told me that. And they're real careful not to jump the gun on anything. But anytime I hear that, there's a big announcement coming, I get excited about what it might be. Music festivals. The possibilities are endless. We had motocross there not too long ago. So they've done a really good job of finding ways to do unique things with that venue. And I think the Cats are just going to be a proof of concept of just how nice it really is. I'm interested in your thoughts. I'm just now tuning in. I've been on the road all day, but somebody who hadn't spent a lot of time there, you've been in a lot of great sports venues. What do you think?
Well, I see so much of the same stuff, the same feeling from 30 years ago. I mean, I can remember how excited I was to go on the air that day and say to people, look, they gave me a tour of what eventually is going to be the arena. And, you could easily say, okay, this is going to be a game changer. Now, what I didn't know at the time, Mayor Bredesen was smart enough to say, okay, we probably at that point, mid-1990s, we don't stack up with other cities that we might be competing against. And so what he did, and this is where he was a really smart businessman, was to say, okay, it's either NHL or NBA that's going to be the primary tenant. Whoever comes in first runs the arena. And that's how I think we got the Predators.
Well, on a smaller scale, George, I would say that's exactly what Wes Golden, our current county mayor, has done with the Cats. Wes very quickly saw the momentum with those two games that the Cats played there back last summer, and he did everything he could to rub elbows with the ownership group and roll out the red carpet and offer those guys everything but the kitchen sink to get them to come to Clarksville. And I'm grateful for that too. I mean, we've had some visionary leadership, especially on the county side here, and I think what we're going to see tonight is just a glimpse of just what a little vision can do.
Justin, what do you make of the moment? Because it's not just here in Clarksville, but it seems like the AF1 as a whole is really starting to grow. What do you make of that?
I'm blown away, to tell you the truth. I was listening to a podcast today, a couple of guys up in Michigan do, and they don't do anything but talk AF1 football. And so I was listening, just kind of scouting tonight's opponent a little bit. Thought it was interesting. The guy who was a big part of Last Chance U, Malik Henry, is the starting quarterback for the Michigan Arsenal. So I'm looking forward to that. I used to have Jason Brown on my local show every now and then and hear some of his antics. But I think they've got some good players. Malik Henry's a great example. Tyler Kulka, our quarterback for the Cats, is a great personality, a great ambassador for AF1 football. I think that's been key, is just getting some of the right guys in the right places. And I think having Jeff Fisher as your commissioner, gosh, that sure doesn't hurt. A guy who knows the game from all angles and does things at a very high level. I think all that combined, I think AF1 is probably the best chance arena football's had to have a little longevity in a long time.
So you've done an excellent job laying out, how getting the Cats to Clarksville and all that went on behind the scenes to get them here, and kind of the future of what this could do for the city as a whole. But now that we're here and the season's getting ready to begin tonight for the Cats, kind of peel back the curtain as much as you can, the events leading up to game day the week of, what all takes place?
Honestly, that's probably not the best question for me. I don't work for the Cats. I'm just a guy who lives down the street, and I've tried to do everything I can to help logistically. I will say this, and maybe that's what you're kind of setting me up for. The local business community, from a logistical standpoint, has really wrapped their arms around this team. I mean, the team they broke training camp late because they had that early bye week. They just got settled in. Byers and Harvey Real Estate's done a fantastic job of hooking our guys up with some really nice long-term rentals downtown, some really nice places to stay where they can feel like home. We've seen, Mion Enterprises help out with parking. We've seen my buddy Joe Smith, one of our county commissioners over at Jody's Cabinets. He was one of the first to jump up and say, hey, how can we as a business be involved in supporting this team? And they're actually the game ball sponsor. I mean, the local business community has done a really good job. I mentioned our downtown businesses, and gosh, all of them are thrilled. They're going to see a 10 to 20% bump in their Friday night tonight. And they are absolutely thrilled to have folks coming and learning about downtown Clarksville and all that we have to offer. I think I wouldn't live there if I didn't feel like it was a sleeping giant. I think it's a sneaky, cool place to hang out, and you guys are finding that out right now.
So this will be my last one. You brought up Tyler Kulka. We had Tyler Kulka on our show to start the 3 o'clock hour, and he brought up the fact that he played football in Japan for a little bit. What was that process like of getting him here and landing with the Cats?
Again, I mean, you'd have to talk to Clint Gum on the operations side or Coach Arbett, about making that happen. I know those guys. I've gotten to know them a little bit. They are so well connected when it comes to the game of football, period. They had, at one point in time, they had 5 quarterbacks in that quarterback room leading up to this season. So Kulka has earned the job again this year. It's not something they just handed to him. They brought in some other pretty strong options there. So I think when it comes to putting a roster together, we may have the best front office in AF1 and Coach Arbett and Clint and what they've been able to do. I'm excited to see it on the field tonight. I'm going to learn a lot myself. This will be obviously it's everybody's first game. We don't have any preseason or anything like that, but I don't think that the team's going to look like they're playing a preseason game. I think they'll be in mid-season form. I'm excited to see it.
Justin, really appreciate your taking the time to join us. I'm glad we were able to pull this off tonight. I've wanted to do this for a while. Of course, we have an affiliate in Clarksville in ESPN 104.1 and 540 on the AM dial. So it made a lot of sense to do this. Thanks for coming on with us, and I look forward to seeing you later tonight.
I look forward to it as well. It's great that you guys are here, and love that you guys are on the air in Clarksville. I'm a regular listener. I appreciate what you do, and thanks for making a big deal out of my town, man. It's a cool place and getting cooler every day, and the Cats being here sure doesn't hurt.
Amen. Justin, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Justin Swallows knows a lot about the behind-the-scenes effort to try to get this team up here. As all of you know that watch our show, listen to our show, over the last month or so, we've run a lot of commercials about a rugby game that will take place Sunday over at Geodis Park. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like I know a thing about rugby other than they knock the daylights out of each other. But when we come back, Jason Higgins from the Chicago Hounds is going to join us. We may learn a few things. Stick around on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you. Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. Night.
ESPN Radio lives here. Your sports live here on ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
We welcome all of you back. Pretty cool setup right now. Those of you who are listening on radio, obviously you can't see this, but we are in Clarksville, Tennessee today, and we are broadcasting live from the F&M Bank Arena. And tonight, there's an Arena Football League game here between the Nashville Cats and the Michigan Arsenal. Now, Sunday, and this is really where our city has got such a wide variety of sports right now. There's a rugby match over at Geodis Park, and I don't pretend to know the first thing about rugby, but I'm pretty open-minded and hoping to learn a little bit. Jason Higgins joins us from the Chicago Hounds. He's on the line with us. Jason, how you doing?
How's it going? Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Good. So you're going to have to educate kind of a rugby moron here. Tell me a little bit about what you do as a player for the Hounds and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, will do. So I play a position called scrum half, and that's everyone on a rugby pitch wears number 1 to 15, and your number kind of designates your role. So like 1 to 8 are like the big guys, like the O line, the D line, the big bruisers. Then you have 9 to 15 are like the faster kind of decision makers, the wide receivers, running back-esque kind of players. And my role as a number 9 is basically to move the ball around the park, decide where it goes, and kind of just get us moving, like decide where we try play. Yeah. And then the aim is to just get to the try line or the end zone, as in any way possible. If you're big and strong enough to just run over a guy, then do that and just run to the line and score a try. Or if you're fast, move the ball to an edge and to a winger and use feet and footwork and evasion and do that. So there's just so many kind of ways about going, getting your task done with rugby. So yeah, that's kind of a roundabout way, summation of the game.
So I know you know a little bit about American football and you know how popular it is, especially in the South. Is rugby more dangerous than American football?
Well, I think the thing with American football is, like, they're both contact sports, but I feel like American football is more of a collision sport. The impacts they're high impact. The guys obviously pad it up, and that allows them to tackle the way they do. But in rugby, the fact that we have less, kind of pads and stuff means that the tackle is kind of a safer tackle, and we're kind of taught from quite a young age how to tackle safely. And, it's all below the waist. Like, you can't really hit higher than that. So, they're different sports, but yeah, and I would say football is collision and rugby is contact, if that makes sense.
Okay, you just told me something that I don't know, which really shows my ignorance. So all of the tackling is below the waist, correct?
Yeah, Yes, yeah. So a high tackle is a penalty in rugby. So if you hit anyone above there, or you hit someone in the head or anything like that, that's a penalty against you, and the other team gets the ball. Yeah, so you cannot do that. You have to keep it low.
So again, I'm showing some ignorance here. When a game is over, how sore are you? What's the recovery time? Because it looks brutal.
Yeah, I mean it is brutal, and there are times if you play 80 minutes and it's a very physical game. I mean, the adrenaline gets you through, the next kind of 2 or 3 hours after the game, but you slowly kind of start to hurt. I mean, there's times, you wake up the next day and it can be hard to kind of get out of bed. Like every muscle from your neck down to your toes kind of aches in a sense. But, we know we're good with our recovery, and, we're taught how to kind of help our bodies recover quickly through, eating well, ice baths, proteins, hydration, everything like that. So we managed to build ourselves back up for the weekend over the course of a week, and we go again.
Jason, in a minute, you're going to hear from a young man who has played the quarterback position in high school and college. And as you know, in American football, the quarterback is kind of the glamour position. Is there a glamour position in rugby?
If there was, I mean, I don't think there's any glamour position in rugby. I think that would be unfair to say to anyone who plays any positions in rugby. But I suppose the number 10, so that's called the out half in rugby, like they are almost like the quarterback. They make plays, like a quarterback does, and they're very important to the overall performance of the team. If your out half plays well and moves the ball around the pitch well, then you're probably, your chances of winning the game are higher. So probably the out half is potentially that kind of a guy, that quarterback-esque role. And that's number 10.
So, Jason, if I heard you correctly, you wear number 9. So that means you are a speedy type. What would you compare that to in American football? You said running back, wide receiver?
I suppose in rugby, like 9 and 10 are kind of the decision-making position. So they're kind of like the quarterback-esque kind of position shared between two, you could say, in rugby. So they're more like a tactical player. Of speed, you got to move the ball around, you got to be very fit. It's a lot of running. Like the number 9 has the most meters in a game, so you got to be pretty up there in terms of endurance and stuff. But the fast guys, they're the wingers. They're number 11, 14, 15. That's where the real gas is.
So you and I have something in common because, as George told you, I did play college football. I played actually in Chicago, and I loved every minute that I was up there. And what I've learned about being in Chicago is they love their professional sports. How do you feel like the city has kind of rallied around, the idea of having rugby in the city and supporting the team?
Yeah, I think they've gotten so behind it. It's been amazing. I mean, the appetite for rugby in Chicago is massive. We work with a lot of underage schools and stuff throughout the year, and you can see the kids they're just really excited by a new sport that kind of offers a blend of so many other sports soccer, basketball, football. Rugby kind of has aspects of all of that tied in. And even just from a supporter standpoint, I mean, the Chicago supporters, they come out in some crazy weather in Chicago. I mean, it can be minus 20, minus 30, and they show up and they get the tailgate going and they bring the energy. And I just think, Chicago has that, blue collar, hard working nature about the city. And I think rugby that's rugby at its essence, that kind of underdog, blue collar, just get on with it type game, So I think they really, really buy into it all.
This may be a dumb question, but you did bring up the blue collar nature of Chicago. And when I've seen rugby games on TV or when I've seen highlights, there's a lot of blood, sweat, tears, everything in between. Do you guys actually enjoy playing in the cold, or do you prefer, when it gets around to the summertime, it warms up a little bit?
To be honest, we definitely probably prefer better conditions, because I mean, the better the conditions are, the better the game of rugby that day. But in saying that, we do love a challenge. I mean, anyone who plays rugby and enjoys getting smacked around the place for 80 minutes, doesn't mind a bit of bad weather. It doesn't, you kind of embrace it. You kind of wear it, and after the game, it's it's another story. It's another something you did, like you played in this freezing cold or, you know, drenched rainy game, you know. So, I mean, we enjoyed the challenge of it all, to be honest. Rain, hail, or shine, you know.
So obviously a really big match, and we're excited to have you guys here in town in Nashville this weekend. We had James English on our show a couple days ago. It might have been yesterday, actually. And he was very honest about how he felt about the New England Free Jacks. And we pride ourselves on being an honest show. So we open that same door, that policy for you. You can be as honest as you want with this answer. How do you feel about the New England Free Jacks?
I have nothing but respect for the New England Free Jacks, to be honest. They're a really good team, and we've had our rivalries over the years, and we go toe to toe, and they've edged us, and it's up to us to do something about it, you know.
Wow, he was much more diplomatic.
I was expecting I hate them with every fiber of my being.
A little trash talk. I mean, we certainly got that yesterday. So good for you that you kept it politically correct, shall we say.
No hit here. It's all good. It's the game, you know.
I love it. So, Jason, give us kind of a little bit more of a background into your rugby career. Where all have you played, you know, besides Chicago?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Cork in Ireland, and so most of my rugby just was through underage systems there. Schools, you know, rugby in Ireland is massive, so you played in school at quite a high level, and then once you leave school, you go into there's like semi-pro rugby there for like, but it's, you know, it's a good blend of pro and semi-pro. It's called the All-Ireland League. So I spent about 5 years in the All-Ireland League with my local club, Cork, and we were very successful and won a lot of trophies. And then people in North America, well, my dad actually was born in Montreal, so I also have Canadian citizenship. So after about 5 years in Cork, people in the Toronto Arrows, an MLR franchise that isn't around anymore, but it was at the time, they got onto me, and so I moved over to Toronto to play with them. And then I got involved with the Canadian setup, so I play internationally with Rugby Canada, and we've qualified for the World Cup in 2027. So it's pretty exciting stuff for Canadian rugby. And so I spent a year with the Toronto Arrows, and then I moved to San Diego for 2 years with the San Diego Legion, and then I came to Chicago. Yeah, and I've really, really embraced Chicago. I love the city.
So Jason, let's end it this way. We got a great city in Nashville that has got a lot of different sports going on, and all of a sudden there's a rugby match at Geodis Park Sunday. Why should a person come out and watch it?
I just think rugby is we embrace everyone in rugby, you know, like they say with rugby, there's a position for every player. And I just think from a fan standpoint, like rugby is the home for everyone, you know, and the energy that's brought about on the pitch through just physicality and work rate, I just feel like that ebbs into the crowd, and there's an incredible, like, live rugby it's amazing to watch, and the sounds of it even are just different to anything you'll get anywhere else. Just hearing these guys go about their work, like it's the energy, it's the camaraderie, it's just the good, fun atmosphere that rugby brings. And I haven't been to a lot of American sports games, but I would say, that there's a place for everyone in rugby, and just great fun energy, and it's amazing to watch live.
Jason, you were really good to do this. Appreciate you taking the time to come on with us, and look forward to seeing you on Sunday at Geodis Park.
Brilliant. Thanks for having me. Really enjoyed it.
Okay, there we go. Jason Higgins joining us to talk a little bit of rugby. Geodis Park on Sunday. Think about it. Hockey game on Thursday to close out the Preds regular season. Arena football on Friday in Clarksville, and rugby on Sunday at Geodis Park. We're really starting to develop a lot of different sports in our listening area.
Yeah. And who are those people that say spring is a slow time for sports? That could not be the more opposite of the truth.
Yeah, but let me say this. It used to be.
It used to be very slow.
When I first started in this, which was before the Peloponnesian War.
When was that exactly?
I don't know. It really was, though. I mean, there was sort of a dividing line of the really good stuff and then slow, and you will learn later what slow is.
Once we get to June and July.
Well, I mean, it's just part of the deal when you don't have Major League Baseball in your city. Last night was sort of a weird ending. On one hand, I'm really proud of the effort that the Predators gave to make it even discussable. They went on a road trip from hell, a 6-game road trip, and played their butts off. And the effort was tremendous. They came up short, and we're going to hear more next week about where this is all headed. I would assume that fairly soon, former Governor Bill Haslam will announce a new general manager, and that GM, I would assume at his opening press conference, will lay out the ultimate plan of where this franchise is going. Here's the one thing I know for me as in sports talk show host, but also me as in season ticket holder, day one, year one season ticket holder. I don't want to hear all this talk about trading Steven Stamkos. Steven Stamkos was an absolute stud. When you look from the middle of November until the end of the season, I said it earlier today, there were not 5 players in that league more productive than him. I hear all this, he's getting up in age. BS. Stop it. 42 goals for the year. I better not hear from whoever the new guy is that the Predators are moving him. This guy needs to be the foundation of the next year or two, and it's time for this fan base to get rewarded and get this team back in the playoffs.
And if you look at the construction of any good team, the Preds have a lot of young guys. They need some older guys who have been there before. The Philip Forsbergs, the Steven Stamkos, the Roman Josis, the Ryan. They need those guys, to rely upon because they're so young. And Steven Stamkos was just phenomenal this year, and hopefully he can continue that production for at least another season.
The other thing I don't know is what would he bring in trade, and I don't really want to know. Because I am violently opposed to the thought of trading him. But I'll say this, if they move him, they dadgum well better get a real haul because, Roman Josi may have the C, but Steven Stamkos is now the leader of that team.
Right. Because that call that you were, or that day that you were mad that Andrew Burnett didn't say anything and Steven Stamkos was the only guy that said something, right? He may not have the C on his jersey, but he's earned the respect of the locker room and those young guys.
Well,
they see that.
And that defeat that night, it's a 2-point, maybe 3-point deal that they don't get. 2 points they don't get for a win and a point that they lost, 2 points they lost. So, it's, I don't feel like it's totally a waste what went on because I saw some real growth, but as somebody who wanted to see playoff hockey because I love playoff hockey, it feels like it slipped out of their grasp a little bit, and that's frustrating.
Yeah, because they did play really well on that road stretch, but there were also a couple games that, a couple meltdowns. You brought up the Vancouver one that just shouldn't have happened, and then you would have liked to have
the New Jersey loss,
sure,
which should never have been a loss.
All of those different things, despite how hard they played, there were a couple games that just really cost them down the stretch.
And I suspect with that new general manager, we will ultimately learn what Andrew Burnett's future is. I have not been his biggest fan. However, I like the fact that he had them playing very hard at the end. And by an eyelash, I say retain him, but also let him know about the things that must change. This showing up for home games deader than a doorknob in the first period, that has to stop. It has to stop cold. And secondly, some of the gags at the end of games, there are hidden points that have kept them out of the playoffs that should never have happened. Anyway, enough of me there. After the break, we'll have the final segment of the show. Who knows where we're going? From F&M Bank Arena in Clarksville, this is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Are you tired of living with back pain? What would you do if the pain was gone?
At the Dr. Gill Center, we've helped thousands of people over the last 30 years break free from pain and get back to living life. We're committed to your outcomes, and our caring team listens, understands, and offers real solutions to neuropathy, back pain, and joint pain without unnecessary surgery or medication. Choose the clinic that listens. Choose the clinic that cares. Call the Dr. Gill Center today at 615-882-4838.
Let's make your pain-free life a reality.
Nashville, get ready to make history. On April the 19th at Geodis Park, the Guinness Music City Rugby Showdown brings the first ever Major League Rugby match to Tennessee. It's a powerhouse showdown. The Chicago Hounds take on the three-time champions, the New England Free Jacks, in a clash you don't want to miss. Feel the intensity, hear the hits, experience the speed, the rivalry, and the electric atmosphere of pro rugby live in Music City. One match, history in the making. Be there April the 19th at Geodis Park and get your tickets now at chicagohounds.com. Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. Sports and Social at Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a race and sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Blinded by the light, wrapped up like a douche, another runner in the night. Blinded by the light, wrapped up like a douche, another runner in the night. Blinded by the light.
Oh, it's interesting. They have been out here, the Cats have been, for better part of the last 45 minutes. Did you warm up 3 hours before a game?
Yeah, but it was mostly, like just trying to get my hips loose and things like that. Tyler is throwing a lot on the field. I did not throw this much just because I wanted to preserve my arm as much as I could. All of our main warm-ups came about, an hour and a half before the game with the team.
Interesting. So, look, I get that it's like pitchers in baseball. Everybody's different, and obviously he knows what works for him. But, boy, sure, he throws a ton before a game.
Now, I would, I'd get little, weighted balls that were about 1 to 2 pounds, and I would do different things to get my shoulders loose, but that's about it 3 hours before a game. I wouldn't do a whole lot of throwing.
Okay. So that's what's going on. Those of you who are watching by way of podcast, you can see all this stuff. Those of you on radio, You just got to trust us that we're telling you the truth. As a lot of you know, I guess it's been, 6-7 months ago, we worked a deal with 5 Star Communications here in Clarksville to carry our show. Clarksville has become a bigger and bigger market. All you have to do is go to exit 4 on the interstate and then turn on Wilma Rudolph Boulevard, and you know how busy Clarksville has become. Ryan Plockelman is the program director for the entire 5 Star Communication deal here in Clarksville, which is about 8 different radio stations, including their sports talk, 540 on the AM dial and 104.1 on FM. And he joins us by phone. Ryan, are you there?
Of course I am, George. It's great to talk to you. It's so awesome to be on with the Plaz, and it's okay to be on with Parker, too.
Hey,
I love it.
If I had $1, I'd give it to you for saying it that way. I love it. So, first of all, tell me a little bit about your stations.
We got a lot of them, 9 stations, George. I was hoping it was 8 because that's one less thing I got to worry about, but it actually is 9. We've got 9 stations that cover the Clarksville area, Hopkinsville, Fort Campbell, Southern Kentucky. So they're big. We got everything from, poppy stations to country stations. And of course, my favorite, ESPN Clarksville, because it is the home of my good friend, the Plaz. So
flattery will get you everywhere.
I'll give you $1 for saying that one.
Yeah. If he ever gets the $1, we'll have a scoop. So
great.
Kind of tell me what this has meant for you all, getting a team into this building.
It's meant a lot because there's so much going on in Clarksville, but I think sometimes we still kind of feel like we're the second fiddle to Nashville. So many Clarksvillians will get in the car like I do. I went last night to the Preds game. And so having something fun here to do at the F&M Bank Arena, which is this beautiful arena. We have Austin Peay, which is great and up and coming. And I think Austin Peay Athletics has done an incredible job of bringing some athletic entertainment to Clarksville. The football and the basketball program and the baseball program have been fantastic. But having that extra piece, having the Nashville Cats go, you know what? We sell more tickets when we go to Clarksville. This arena is brand spanking new and beautiful, as you can see right now, George. I think it's just igniting the spark of a town that is now figuring out its identity, existing beyond just being that city that's growing next to Nashville.
I've got to believe that it just peps up an entire community. First of all, the Preds were in the middle of the building of this facility. I've got to believe there's just what's the word a little pep in your step when you've got one of these.
Yeah, you feel like you've kind of made it. And, Clarksville has grown. I've been here for 21 years, and I've seen the population grow by 70,000 people in that time frame. And with the military being here, we are very much a military town with Fort Campbell. I know people, they hear Fort Campbell, Kentucky, but it's really only Fort Campbell, Kentucky, because the post office is in the very small Kentucky portion of the base. Most of the landmass is in Clarksville, and most of the soldiers that live off post live in Clarksville. So we're very much a military town. But to have this now, have this beautiful arena, and to have the Nashville Cats there, I mean, the only thing that would make it even sweeter, and George, you and I are both hockey fans, boy, if we could get a minor league hockey team in that building, that would be, I might be able to convince you to move to Clarksville, George, if we can make that happen. We could be neighbors.
Well, let me put it this way. Okay, you may have exaggerated a little, but the hockey fan that loves Predator hockey on those weekends where they're not home, I could see a scenario where the Predators sponsor a bus trip of people who can't get enough, who would come up here on a pretty regular basis.
Absolutely. And right off the Cumberland River, which is known for having catfish, and with the Predators and their catfish connection, I mean, the Clarksville Catfish seems like a pretty easy sell for minor league hockey.
So has a hockey game, I know the Predators have played here a couple of times, right?
Yeah, they play a gold scrimmage here where the younger players, like Roman Yossi, he comes up, but he's usually in one of the suites having a Michelob. But the younger players will play just to kind of showcase the new talent. Like last year, it was kind of fun to see Brady Martin on the ice, and Woody and some of the guys that you see made on the roster later in the season. But yeah, we have that. But I think I'm hoping the Nashville Cats is just the beginning of more big things coming to Clarksville.
People may not know this, and we really have not brought it up in the broadcast today. We do our show in Nashville from a beautiful Ford Ice Center facility in Bellevue, and that's how I walked in today, was into the Ford Ice Center that is adjacent to this.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a great facility. We have some minor league hockey. Fort Campbell, it's some youth hockey. And Fort Campbell actually has a hockey team, which is fun to watch. The Fort Campbell soldiers that put together that hockey team, they'll take on like club teams from different universities. And Austin Peay has a club hockey team too. So I don't mean to switch the discussion away from the Nashville Cats, which I know is why you're there, but this community's ripe for more. So we're ripe for more. That's all I'll say.
Okay, so let's put it this way, and let's get ourselves in trouble.
All right,
do you hear anything as though the Preds might move one of their affiliates in here?
You always hear whispers, and you have to wonder if that's just people wanting to hear what they want to hear. Kind of like the folks that are convinced that Nashville already has a minor league or a major league baseball team. You have to wonder. I know so many people want it, and it makes so much sense that I can't imagine that there hasn't been discussions about that. I mean, you wouldn't move the Admirals. The Admirals have a great, fan base in Milwaukee.
Sure.
And I'm sure the Preds would love to save on airline travel from Billy Mitchell down to BNA when they're moving these players back and forth. But I mean, the Atlanta Gladiators, I mean, I'm sure the F&M Bank Arena is a little bit nicer than where they're playing. So that makes sense to me.
Ryan, you made the comment earlier about being neighbors with George. Let's be honest. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Would you actually want to be neighbors with George Plaster?
I love George. I love when I see, and by the way, George lost my number, which I feel really bad about.
It's true.
Close, but George is like, I don't even have your number anymore, buddy. And I'm like, oh, great. I guess we aren't tight. But I always love when George calls because I know it won't be a 2-minute conversation. It'll be a 20-minute conversation. And it'll be, I will know everything about sports by the time that conversation is over. So maybe not so much neighbors. Like he can live in one part of Clarksville and I'll live in another part of Clarksville. Kind of like, because Clarksville's very spread out. So just far enough away that if I knew George was coming over, he'd have to give me enough warning that I could like disappear.
Buzz out.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, George is an encyclopedia about sports. All the stories he tells me, I'm like, how in the world do you keep all that stuff up there?
Everything. Yeah, people tell George everything. He has the kind of personality where people are like, don't say anything, but let me tell you every secret we possibly have. It's like, he has a show, right? He's going to tell everybody.
That's true. That is true. I remember, I used to come up to Clarksville in high school because when I was playing basketball, we'd play games at Clarksville Academy, and we didn't really get to travel a whole lot. We'd maybe stop at like, a McDonald's or something on after the game to get something. But, driving up here today, I'm like, man, this place has really grown a lot. It looks nice. And I could easily see myself coming back here for one random weekend, just spending some time downtown.
Well, since that, restraining order and that warrant for your arrest have expired,
yes,
you can come here all the time, Parker.
That's right. Thank you for reminding me. I forgot it actually expires this weekend. So
it does. You're fine. I know you're kind of sneaking around there, hoping the authorities don't see it. But Parker, that's long expired. You can frolic down the streets of Clarksville all you want, and you're not going to get busted.
I have found a way to remove the tracker off my leg for about 6 hours or so, and then I have to put it back on. So Well, but this will be my last one before we head to before the show actually ends. With the Nashville Cats, I mean, just the growth of AF1 as a whole. Speak to that and how well it's doing in the early stages.
It's exciting, and I think it's a different brand of football that really kind of plays, and it really gives you something to tide you over with the NFL season being over, and if you're a hockey fan, with that fast moving, kind of hard hitting, because it moves, it's a faster moving game. And so to see it grow like it has, and to see, Clarksville embrace this team and as good as the Cats have been in the past, I mean, this is a great alternative to whatever that schlop is that they have on TV now. What is it? The United Football League or whatever, where, it's the people dropping easy passes.
Yes.
This is so much more entertaining, so much more high scoring, and the ticket is so reasonable. That's the great thing. The ticket's so reasonable where, honestly, for what it would take for you to go to Nissan Stadium and watch the Titans lose by double digits, you could go to 5 or 6 Cats games and see them win most of them. So it is exciting. And with Jeff Fisher being a part of it, I had lunch with Jeff Fisher not too long ago, and I realized after having that lunch with Jeff Fisher that I can never talk about football again, because as a casual football fan, I don't know anything about football compared to a guy like Jeff Fisher. So having him in the community and having this team in the community, I think it's just the sky's the limit. And I see great things for this league as it continues to grow.
Ryan, thank you for taking the time to come on. Thank you for the partnership. We on this end have greatly enjoyed it, and I hope the folks in Clarksville do as well.
Well, thank you, George. I hope you have a great weekend. And Parker, I hope you have an okay weekend.
I appreciate it. You as well.
Ryan Plockelman is the program director for 9 radio stations through the company 5 Star Communications in Clarksville. I'm going to show you all who are watching by way of podcast what I thought was the highlight of last night's Predator regular season finale. And I may not do this very well, but here goes. I'm going to show this to people, and hopefully you can tell what it is. The Predators announced 2 recipients of the Aaron Donick Memorial Scholarship. I did not know it was coming. I rushed to grab my camera, sent Willie a picture of it, and I got the chance to talk to Willie today. 2 really worthy winners, and my kudos to the Predators for honoring Aaron Donick, who was one of the most incredible people that I have ever met. She was the best, and all of us miss her terribly. Now, let's get to the final thing in the show.
42-20 is the record, George. I just realized I didn't have the graphic in there, so
I
will.
That's inexcusable.
I know. I'm glad Kelly's not on because I would get fined for that.
Yeah. So I've got 3 plays, and understand I'm on fire. There's just no other way to say it.
4 out of
What's
5
that record?
this week. 4 out of 5 this week. 42-20.
Here's what we're going with. I'm taking Orlando tonight in the NBA plus 3.5 at home against Charlotte. Don't know why they're the underdog. I'm taking Phoenix, the home team, minus 2.5 tonight against the Golden State Warriors. These are win or go home games. And tomorrow night, I am taking the Lakers plus the 5.5 at home against Houston. Nobody agrees with me, but this will be the best game the Lakers play. See you Monday. We've had a great time in Clarksville. Watch the game if you can. This is the George Plaster Show.
Now, here's your latest Fox 17 Code Red weather report.
Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bobus. Our forecast brings us into the upper 80s later